This is a bit of a weird place for a video game character to be put as a main topic for. Fiction doesn't affect reality. Picture a Bandicoot right now! Well, most people are gonna ask you, what's a Bandicoot? Because most people don't play the classic PlayStation 1 mascot platformer that only gets a re-release way later down the line, and a kick-ass kart game. Also, most people don't live in Australia. But I don't understand why you have to use a Bandicoot when you can also say, picture Sonic. But even if most people know who Crash Bandicoot is, this is not what people meant when they say fiction doesn't affect reality. You are jumping into this discourse clearly having no idea why people say that, and just being utterly dismissive of the whole idea at face value. I'm not saying something like art should be censored, violent games cause shootings, animes for pedo, etc. That's a whole new sentence. Exactly. Maybe next time, try to figure out why people are saying that ridiculous thing before you hop in completely blind and make wild assumptions of what it is, because those moral guardians saying fiction affects reality will not let you enjoy those bat titties. I've dedicated my whole life to fiction. Please don't say it doesn't affect reality. I will disappear. The internet is not a safe place for you, kid. I think disappearing is the best course of action for you, and for most minors in general. Here's another instance of fiction affecting reality. Cat milk. Fiction can't affect reality, and yet y'all believe cats can drink milk. They do. They absolutely can. I know, because I have cats myself, and they do drink milk. This notion came from reality, not fiction. There's a huge difference between they shouldn't drink milk because they're lactose intolerant, and they can drink milk even if they're lactose intolerant. Also, there are milks specifically designed for cats, and even then, they're only given as treats, not a primary food source. If you are using fiction as genuine guidelines on petting, you're the one who needs help. Here's another installment of people claiming that fiction is affecting reality. This is quite the screenshot explaining in detail that people wouldn't be afraid of shark if not for Jaws. No, people were already afraid of sharks before Jaws. The movie just amplified it. The Slenderman stabbings? The girls were already nuts to begin with. Glorification of the American military? They are also glorified in real life. Fiction merely mirrors that. Non-American cultures being poorly misunderstood? Viewers should not base their ideas of non-American cultures through fiction. LGBT plus and racial representation in media literally would not matter. It would not matter at all because minorities are being discriminated against in real life for real life issues, not because fiction says so. I've seen so many people who are totally okay with seeing minorities in fiction but will happily discriminate against them in real life. All I'm saying is, fiction doesn't impact reality in a way that you think it is, and it is not a universal truth that applies to every situation. You must realize that normalizing pedophilia and incest as positive and romantic concepts can have harmful effects on an audience. No, it cannot be, because they're fictional, and anyone who gets affected by that are not mentally well to begin with. Children could think that adults pursuing them are simply being romantic because of you. That would imply that those children consume the very same adult content that you are decrying against. That should not happen in the first place. Pedophiles could be granted platforms in communities through your label, and their abuse normalized through your art. And yet, the people who are vehemently against interactions with real children are the pro-shippers and the loli and shota fans. The ones who are interacting with real children are ironically the antis. I do think a lot of video games hold propaganda that can make you more prejudiced towards marginalized people. Name me one game that holds that propaganda and actually works at making people be more prejudiced towards marginalized people. Out of all the fiction affecting reality arguments, this is easily some of the most absurd. Mentally ill people brush their teeth thanks to Naruto, and you want me to believe that fiction doesn't affect reality? Wow, there are loads to unpack out of that sentence. This notion was actually based on a Tumblr post that said, sometimes you have to be mentally ill to get mentally well. So it's not suggesting that mentally ill people brush their teeth thanks to Naruto, it's suggesting that normal people have to be mental so that they can be encouraged to do stuff in the real world. And by that, they mean have a fictional character convince them to do something so that you are more motivated by it, such as brushing your teeth. This is an innocent and wholesome post that can motivate people to do something, and I don't dismiss the effectiveness of it. I couldn't find the original post of someone saying it, but a more recent example that I can think of is when some people online said that they are motivated to do something because they thought of Mike from Breaking Bad basically going, "So here's what you're going to do." I admit that sometimes I do have people in my head that motivate me through the day, except they're not usually fictional characters. I thought of Gordon Ramsay just yelling at me, and that really motivates me. The point is, this is an example of fiction affecting reality, but that's not why people say fiction affects reality. They say fiction affects reality in that if you play violent video games, you're a murderer in real life. People stay alive thanks to fictional characters. People are inspired to be better thanks to fictional stories. And you're telling me fiction doesn't affect reality? Yes. Fiction doesn't affect reality in all circumstances. For example, the same person who writes this likes the Hannibal miniseries, and here's their response of Hannibal being, a cannibal. I don't see it that way. Hannibal is an anti-hero to me. I'm glad that you don't see it that way, because there's a whole army of online moral guardians who will call you a cannibal for it, and they will tell you that you should not like Hannibal because fiction affects reality, and therefore, if you like Hannibal, you are a cannibal. These are just excerpts of the insanity from this week, where people are genuinely claiming that fiction is affecting reality. I had to split the video into two because I had to cover the ones from last week as well, and I'll get to more of these insanity in the next part tomorrow. Still, if you like this video so far, don't forget to click the like button, comment, subscribe, and leave some tips through any of these means, including YouTube membership, links below. Thank you to all the sponsors this week, you're all fantastic. These are only a snippet of a full thread, and it already makes me conclude that this person is absolutely nuts. This first post is immediately community noted, with an actually amazing thread about how taboo sexual fantasies have been studied and has been proven to be normal and healthy in adults. But that's not the only post that has been community noted. The next one is straight up insane. The fact that you have to dehumanize fictional children to pixels. Fictional children do not exist. They are, objectively speaking, just pixels on screen. The fact that you are entertaining the idea that they should be taken as seriously as real children is the kind that would land you straight to the loony bin. You know that you're wrong for the sexualization, and you that too if you're saying that a literal fictional child can't consent. You're actually weird. Deadass. You really should go back to school, kid. And yes, a literal fictional child cannot consent. They are fictional. They are not real. You are the weird one for thinking that they can. Oh my god, you are actually insane. You showed a picture of a real child and compared it to Kana from Dragon Maid. If you look at Kana, a literal humanoid dragon with freaking tails, and think that she's in any way comparable to a real child, you are the one who is in desperate need of a psychological help. Fictional children are the same thing as children. No, they are not. At all. You are a genuine nutcase if you think this way. They have ages, they like stuff, etc. Last time I checked, they do not have tails and can transform to a freaking dragon. Also, those ages and the fact that they like stuff, the writers make all that up.
This one was invented by a writer.
You're going to look at me straight in the eyes and say that this a 500-year-old girl? No, because this is not a 500-year-old girl. This is a 100-year-old dragon who can transform into a little girl. She's not a real person. You can do whatever you want with her. Oh, and the same goes to her romantic partner and the Shota next door. They're not dragons, but they're also not real. The anti-shipping discourse has gotten so insane that they had to discredit a whole field of study. Pro-shippers are people with trauma. Not necessarily, they just really like shipping characters. I understand that people use pro-shipping to help them cope. Yes, how dare people use a healthy and totally non-harmful outlet for coping with trauma? It is not a valid coping mechanism. Let me tell you why. This person then proceeds to discredit the whole field of psychology. No, I'm not kidding. Psychology is the scientific study of the human mind and its functions, especially those affecting behavior in a given context, not giving you a free ticket to ship, incest, and write rape online. How interesting that you define psychology as the study of the human mind and its functions in a given context. I wonder what kind of given context that the field of psychology studies for, oh yeah, writing taboo topics in a fictional context, which just so happens to be something that has been explored numerous times in psychology. Sorry to say this to you, Auntie, but psychology does give you a free ticket to ship incest and write rape online as long as they're writing them in a fantasy and fictional context, which is perfectly normal and healthy. Actually, you don't even need a ticket at all. You can just do all those. We may not be Socrates, but you're definitely not one. And this whole thread definitely doesn't give you a free ticket to discredit the whole field of study. Here's another installment of anti-shippers straight up denying science. This Reddit post just oozes delusions. This person goes through all sorts of therapists who pretty much validated the notion that fiction helps and that they are not affecting reality in a way that this person thinks. But they are frustrated because they do not agree with them. That's because these therapists are actually educated on these matters, and you're just a whiny kid throwing a tantrum online. Don't worry, they're not the only ones. Recently, this Deltarune psychologist used the classic "the children aren't real, we can sexualize them" argument. Yes, because those children are not real. Yes, we can sexualize them because they are fictional characters and they are not real. And yet this person accused him of being a pedophile. I am physically sick at this response. Let's check out the response, shall we?
You don't like the content? You can off.
Oh, I'm liking this guy already.
And if you and your brain cannot separate fiction from reality, there's an issue. Go check with the mental health professional, because clearly you are having an issue.
He's not wrong on that at all. If you like sexual art of children, you're a pedophile and sick in the head. The fact that you spelled you with a U is already quite telling of the level of maturity that I'm dealing with here. The fact that you decided to make online callouts instead of reporting these alleged predators to the police is already quite telling. Professionals can be wrong. Professionals can be sick. They aren't gods. Oh yes, they can be wrong. Not this time though.
Not this time. Not this time. No.
They are in the right, and you are in the wrong. You are here just coping and seething from it. Pro shippers need 10,000 more needle cookies to be humbled. This is in reference to an incident where a fan artist who drew Undertale fan art that received a needle inside a cookie. We still don't know who sent the cookie, but a lot of people assume that it's the anti-shippers who did it. Nice to know that even if you're not the ones doing the deed, you will happily own up to encouraging committing real-life crimes to real-life people over fictional characters. This person thinks it's hard to defend video games and anime that are tricky. When they say video games and anime, they mean depictions of child abuse, incest, and sexual violence. A little trickier to defend. No, it's not tricky at all. They're fiction. Plain and simple. They're not real. They're just fantasies, and fantasies are healthy and extremely common. The community notes talk about how the Supreme Court ruling said that fictional media cannot be considered CSAM because they couldn't. No real children are being harmed. Someone check this guy's hard drive. Unwarranted search and seizure with no probable cause. But okay then, go waste the police time to search this guy's hard drive because he likes fictional characters. Oh, sorry, that was a joke. I'm glad that you don't take pedophilia seriously. What a great position to have. Nobody's having a wank to GTA. Oh boy, I guess you missed this whole thing.
These realistic virtual rapes have mainly been happening in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, by the way, this guy who cries out that there are so many child predators also say that watching CSAM doesn't mean you had a latent desire to abuse kids. So anime and fictional kids are dangerous, but actual child abuse that will lead to even more child abuse is not that dangerous at all.
You need to seek professional help.
And that's all for the video today. Here's a cat. Don't forget to check out my previous videos here. Click the like button, comment, subscribe, leave some tips, just $1 down below. And thanks for watching.